You guys voted for this. You voted for it. Did you? Welcome to Drivetime with DeRusha. Do not look at your 401k. Do not look at your stock today. Look at the sunshine. Look outside. It's 62 degrees here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It is March. I mean, come on. Nothing but joy and sunshine. And the words of the President of the United States have sparked a massive market sell-off today, not just here in the United States, but all around the world. One guy doesn't say one thing, kablooey. Wall Street collapse. Did you vote for this? 651-461-9226. And the deeper question of that sort of clickbaity headline from me, are you willing to put up with short-term pain for a long-term gain? Because I don't know that was what was sold during the presidential campaign, that it was going to hurt. But I do think that's what the President of the United States is trying to sell right now. We'll keep watching the Dow, which is down 890 points, 2%. NASDAQ is on track for its worst day since 2022. Here is what President Donald Trump didn't say yesterday during an interview on Fox News Sunday with his friend Maria. Remember the Money Honey? Is that what she was called back in the day? Today she is a very Trump-friendly interviewer, but still asking, I think, the right question here. Here's Maria Bartiromo with President Donald Trump.
Look, I know that you inherited a mess, and you said that the other night.
I've only been here.
But are you expecting a recession this year?
I hate to predict things like that. There is a period of transition because what we're doing is very big. We're bringing wealth back to America. That's a big thing. And there are always periods of, it takes a little time.
He refused to rule out the possibility that his trade, this is all about tariffs, this is all about trade policy. And he refused to rule out that his policy could cause a recession. It's a remarkable concession. It is reality. But is this what you voted for? 651-461-9226. It is, Dan, sort of the way that, people always talk about policies in Minneapolis and Minnesota. If we ever talk about something that is bad, that we disagree with, the text come in. You voted for this. You voted for this. All right. Did you guys vote for this? Because I thought the promise of a Trump presidency was fixing the economy, not breaking it. So much has happened over the last couple weeks that I think goes well beyond what was talked about during a campaign. And there is sort of a Trump magic in saying stuff and allowing the pundits and the voters to wonder, is this just the art of the deal, or is he really going to do it? Well, I think he's shown the tariffs have been on, off, on, off, on, off. Ontario has put in retaliatory 25% tariff to electricity they send here to Minnesota. Ontario's like, well, we're not going to wait around for this on, off, on, off, on, off with tariffs. We're retaliating. Boom. And we do get some electricity here in Minnesota from Ontario. Beijing has started imposing retaliatory tariffs on American farm products. Let's not dance around it. We are in a full-on trade war with some of our biggest trade partners around the world. Maybe the pain is what we need to go through in order to remake the economy. I don't think this is what most of you were sold. 651-461-9226. Let's talk to Denny in Maple Grove. He's on the CCO Talk and Text line. Denny, is this what you voted for?
Well, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat. I have only voted for one Republican in my life, and I'm 80 years old. And when Donald Trump took office, the day that he took office, I converted anything I had left in the market to cash. And I'm sleeping really well every night because I'm
Yeah.
scared to death.
Yeah, we're about back to where we started on election day. Thanks, Danny. Appreciate it. A lot of textures coming through. Americans only think of themselves. What happened to caring about your country? I voted for massive change. And thankfully, President Trump is delivering. John in Andover. Yeah, like I think, look, I'm not saying that's an unreasonable position to say, like, yes, we have to go through some pain to get to a revitalization of American manufacturing. Personally, I think we're fighting a war that is like 50 years old right now. The economy has changed. Our availability of workers and expertise is not ready to immediately kind of fill the gap. So while we all can sit around and bloviate about wanting to have Apple computers and our iMacs and our televisions made here in the United States, everyone I've talked to in manufacturing says that our workforce is just not at that level of expertise. So could we get there? Sure. But did you sign up for 5 years of pain? Well, we try to train a workforce to be able to manufacture very detailed, microchips and electronic parts that we haven't been making forever. 651-461-9226. I think it's going to be rough. This, by the stock market today, is sort of an acknowledgement that, like, this is really happening. That this is not an art of the deal trying to get a better deal. This is not about fentanyl, no matter how much the White House wants to pretend it's about a war on drugs. This is about Donald Trump, who believes in tariffs. He's been consistent on it. He's been saying it since his first term. Tariffs are coming. The world will retaliate. Are you ready for the pain? Did you vote for the pain, or did you think that Donald Trump, I would love to hear from a Trump voter with a phone call or with a voice message on the Odyssey app. You can send us a message where you listen live to WCCO. I'd love to hear from you. Jason, I voted for this. How about talking about all the great things Trump has accomplished? It's only been a month. Like, well, how about we talk about the fact that the Dow Jones is down 890 points right now? And that was the relevant scoreboard when Donald Trump liked what the scoreboard was showing. So don't give me this like, like this. No, this was the scoreboard. Biden's ruining the economy. Look at the Dow Jones. Now you're like, this is not the scoreboard? Come on. Jason, voting for Trump was terrible. Voting for Harris would be equally bad. Our two choices were crap. Is that? I don't believe that. I don't believe that they were equally bad choices. I think they were bad choices in different ways. And if you weight the ways, they are different. You guys know what I think about this. Texters, I don't think Donnie envisioned these tariffs to be state specific. Can I send him my bill? Well, I think the messaging from the White House, the reason that Donald Trump didn't tell everyone what they wanted to hear is because it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. Texter says, when did the voters first realize there would be pain? After the election, this stuff started? That's what I'm asking about. We'll keep the conversation going. We'll keep an eye on Wall Street as well, as stocks are cratering, not just here in the U.S., but around the world, as investors realize that we are in for a global trade war. Tariffs in both directions. Who will win? I don't know. I don't know that we've ever seen anything like this before. We'll continue the conversation here on Drive Time in just a minute. Economists worldwide warned about the downside of tariffs, says a texter. We're going to pay big. He sold his followers a bill of goods. The Ontario tariff on energy is expected to add $100 a month to Minnesotans. We'll see more tariffs from Canada. Look, I'll be honest, like, I'm not afraid of Canadian tariffs on the United States. I question the logic of going after Canada. Um, doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Tariffs against China, against Canada, against Mexico, this is only where it's starting. Europe is next, and it is going to be the United States against the world. And again, this is no giant surprise other than I think a lot of voters let themselves get talked into the idea that this was just talk. He's not really going to do this, is he? We don't know. It's Trump. He's just riffing. Huh? This is what he's doing. Texter says you have to remember that some people voted Trump only because they didn't like what Harris was selling. The hardcore Trump fans, Dan, like, I don't expect them to say, I didn't I didn't know this was coming. I expect them to say what they're saying. Like, this is what we wanted. Radical change, major economic transformation comes at a cost. I do think it's a bit of a fantasy to think that we are suddenly going to, like, start cranking out steel and start making very technical computing parts. I just don't think that's going to happen. Where are we going to get the people? Where are we going to get the training? Look, China has a big advantage when they force their workers to get paid nothing and put them on a bus and send them off to a microchip plant. Now, not only do they have that sort of model in their favor, which we can all question, like, how moral is it for U.S. companies to be using that sort of labor? But they also have highly skilled, like my friends in the tech industry say, can't just turn on a dime here and all of a sudden get American workers at the level of expertise. Remember when we had Michael Jordan, the CEO of Unreal, the clothing company, who talked about how he would love to have his clothing manufactured in America, and he's not even worried about the cost. That's not why he gets it from China. It's the expertise. It's the
infrastructure.
The quality of the product that we just don't have the knowledge yet. I don't know. I think that's very interesting. I don't know that everybody.
It is, but I think if you're a supporter of the president, you're saying that there's a longer timeline here, and yeah, maybe there's going to be some immediate discomfort. That clashes to me a little bit with the rhetoric during the campaign, which is the economy is terrible and it's going to get worse. I'm going to make it better. There wasn't ever it's going to get a little bit worse while I'm trying to make it better.
Yeah,
but what politician is going to say that?
No,
too, right?
Of course,
nobody has an expectation of that. Right. And so I think the hardcore supporters are just going to say we're on board with this because it's all the end goal is going to be better than what we would have had going the other way. And that's something that's going to have to play out over a longer period of time.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, is there going to be some pain? Yeah. Especially considering the fact that if you're going to go from an inflationary period where everybody's, holding on to their wallets because everything costs so much to all of a sudden there's no money because there's a recession, that's sort of a double whammy. And it's going to be real hard for a lot of folks.
Trump voter here says a texter, our government budget and accommodations for other countries were long overdue for an overhaul. It's the first time the markets are reacting. They don't like uncertainty, but it does create a buying opportunity in the stock market. The market will come back. No pain, no gain. Jason, Democrat cheerleader daily. You only bring up the Dow when it's down so you can rag on Trump. Keep up your Trump hate shtick. Keep embarrassing yourself with your short-term look at the Dow. Clearly, you know nothing about long-term investing by focusing on short-term Dow results. Would you consider this show to be a particularly Trump-bashing program?
It's pretty much all we do. Pretty much all 3 hours is Trump, 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 Trump.
Yeah. It's fine. Like, if you guys want to believe that, like, just keep listening. I don't care. It certainly doesn't gel with the reality of what we talk about here. But it's all good. I did not vote for this. I'm retired, and I had thought my future was secure. He and Vance are following the plans in that Project 2025 and destroying the America that I love. Another texter. This is difficult news. I really hope we can back out of these deals, treat our neighbors like Canada with respect, maintain the leadership of the world that makes our country who we are. Yeah, I think that we have to buckle up and accept that this, even though like we've had this kind of back and forth on tariffs, um, it's happening. I think it's happening. And I think you do have to make plans for this, right? If you're looking to retire soon, expect the stock market to be very unpredictable. I just can't remember the last time that an American president, when directly asked, are your policies going to lead to a recession, that American president was like, well, can't rule it out. I'm not sure, like, is it good or bad that he told us that he spoke the truth? Donald Trump believes in tariffs. I think that is something that has been clear for a long time. And do we really know? Not really. Like, I don't know that we've seen a sustained, long-scale effort in the modern economy, right? Where almost every American company is a multinational global enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every American assembled product uses parts that come from Mexico, Canada, and China, largely China. Is that good? I don't think so. Like, I think we learned during the pandemic the danger of having so much of our pharmaceutical manufacturing happening in China. Where you're like, I don't love that. Like, you want to be in control of this stuff within our country for national security reasons too. So I get the urge to bring stuff back here to the United States. But I think investors are also telling you, the stock market is telling you, that this is sort of a half-baked idea. Like, the reality is, if we're going to be in a sustained trade war, the bet is not a positive one, at least for today. It is a short-term deal, as our texter said, but expect the unexpected. We'll break. When we come back, I mean, after this conversation, do we want to re-engineer our bodies to reverse the aging process? I don't know. Maybe some people are like, forget it.